This is Raw Narrative. Raw Narrative. Stories in the raw.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Raw Narrative, episode 2. What? Can you believe that? This is our second episode. Super crazy. I am your host, Adriana McGowan, and you can find me on Instagram with Adriana McGowan Photography. I am a wedding photographer, just trying to share stories and humanize wedding days, essentially. So we just want to laugh together, have a good time, and just have conversation and tips and tricks about epic wedding days. And yeah, so that's what we're going to do today. A little bit of, I guess, life update. I started a podcast, obviously, because you guys are listening to my second episode. So this is really fun. I will tell you, starting a podcast is like you have the idea and you just do it, but it's a lot of work of trying to figure out the odds and ends of how I want it to go and different missing pieces, getting the right chords and all the fun things. So that was part of my week as well. And I got these oh man, I should have brought them up with me, but brand new hard drives. They're super cute. I should have brought them up so you guys can see on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? But I'll have to show them next time. But they're these adorable hard drives. That was my Black Friday steal by Samsung. Yeah, so I need them for 2024 weddings. And I'm trying to think if I got any other Black Friday deals. I didn't really do a lot of shopping. Maybe a little bit of Christmas shopping for the family members. I had posted on my Instagram, on my stories, asking for a few stories from, you guys and your perspective if you wanted to share. So I'm just going to read off a couple of these and then we can kind of just talk about it. So the first one was actually one of my brides. And I was wait, when I was reading this, I was oh my gosh, I remember this. But we made light of the situation. And then the second half, I didn't remember. So she said, our DJ had photos of other people on the slideshow. He also announced our entrance while we were still taking photos and then blamed us. And he failed to set up per contract. So we had to change the order of everything and everyone was starving. Oh my gosh. I remember this because I was there. We were taking photos, like she said, and we were doing their portraits. And then I remember the bridal party was they already announced you guys. Then we were what? Okay. Let's just stop there for a second. Okay. This is the part I do remember. I didn't remember the slideshow part though. So when she told me that, I was what? Other people on the slideshow? That's hilarious. Well, you have to laugh about it now. So in the moment, it's not funny because you're stressed out. You're no, this is not what I planned. This is not what I envisioned. I wanted photos of my husband and I on the slideshow, and I envisioned that everything would go according to plan. And, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But I've heard things with DJs, this is don't skimp out on a good DJ, okay? Make sure you guys have a console and talk through everything. Maybe get recommendations from a past friend or reach out to another person in the industry that have worked with different DJs and kind of get info from them. That really sucks. But we had the best time still. I remember we were just well, I guess he's going to have to introduce him again because they weren't there. So yeah. And then they were starving. So because we had to reorganize the entire timeline of their wedding day. So you just go with the flow. And that's the thing. even like creatives and photographers and videographers or wedding planners, whatever industry, whatever aspect of the wedding industry you are in, bride or groom, bridal party, whatever, you have to go with the flow, because just thinking that everything's going to go according to plan is like wishful thinking. But yet you can like set things up to really help. And my thing is like over communicate, at least as a photographer. I love to over communicate with my bride and with my groom to make sure we're all on the same page, but yet like leave a little bit of marginal room to remember that things don't always go as planned. Okay, so that was great. Thank you for sharing that story. Let me pull up another one. Okay. She said, nothing crazy, but I showed up late to my wedding. But really, I was upstairs watching Christian panic from the window. Okay, so her husband's name is Christian. But that's hilarious. So essentially she showed up late to her own wedding, but she was like watching her fiance, soon to be husband, just like panic, like maybe thinking that she had left him at the altar, like runaway bride. Aww. And then the anxiety built up. And then like, I bet, can you imagine like the relief that he had when he saw her walk down the aisle? Like, I bet he was like, oh my gosh, like she's actually coming. Oh, like being stood up on your wedding day. I guess that would be like the biggest fear of like anyone. Like you think, because some people do get cold. I haven't experienced that. I don't know. Have anyone else in the industry, let me know. Have you ever had someone get cold feet on a wedding day? Like comment below or like tag me, let me know and tell me the story because I want to hear it. But I've never experienced that. Most of the time, my couples are like ready to rock and roll. But like day of wedding dress on, tuxedo on, they call it off. That would really, really stink. But good thing that didn't happen to you guys. Oh, Lordy. Okay. Let's talk about another one. Okay, this one's a list. Okay. 1, we got into an argument 2 days before, but made up the night before. Okay. Oh my gosh. I literally couldn't imagine. So, well, I can think like, obviously you're in a relationship and things get stressful and like weddings can be stressful because you're like, these are my expectations. My expectations need to be met. However, like, you guys can get a little bit heated in the moment with things. Sometimes brides can get a little bit like, woo. All of my brides have been really sweet and wonderful, but it's easy to get overwhelmed when you are about to commit your life to someone at the altar and have your pictures taken and in front of all your friends and family and all the details and what people think, like all those things. And then all that tension leads up to like, it can impact the relationship. So that happens and that's real life. I think I can relate, like not when we got married, but like, let's see, real life in the raw Adriana and Tyler situation, just being married life would be, okay, we went to Hawaii January of 2022. So I remember because we're going to share our honeymoon story. I promise. I want to go like fill you guys in on all the details, but we got really sick on our honeymoon. Okay. And we had a honeymoon, but we didn't. And so like we were vomiting like the entire time. I'll fill you guys in on that when he's here. But I remember trying to like get back home and being like, I just want to be home. Like I do not want to be on my honeymoon anymore. I want to be home. And he felt the same way because we were in agony and in pain and it was horrible. So it was beautiful, but we'll fill you guys in on that whole story. But the 2022 in January, we went to Hawaii. That was our like honeymoon redo. And I was like, I want this trip to be perfect. I was so scared of getting sick. I remember I was taking like so much emergency and like so many vitamins because I was like, this has to be perfect. And I like ordered like all these outfits off of Abercrombie. And I was like, I want the cute little crop tops and the linen shorts. And I want to look like a Hawaii girl. I want like to take my camera and get great pics and like just be on my honeymoon with my husband. But it was like knowing, okay, I have travel anxiety. Not to the point where I'm like scared of traveling, but like I'm scared of missing something or like missing my flight or something going wrong. I don't know if anyone else is that way, but I literally cannot sleep when I travel like the night before. And I am up like packing or repacking or thinking that I did something wrong or whatever. But like Hawaii from North Carolina, it is a long sink-in flight. So you've got to fly. We laid over in Phoenix, Arizona, and then we took another flight from Phoenix to the Big Island, and then the Big Island, we spent a few days there and then went to Oahu and then flew back from Oahu. But before all of that, it was a beautiful trip. There was so much like tension because I'm trying to prepare. And so I remember I was like packing and then unpacking and then thinking that I was missing something and then I wasn't missing something and it ended up being like really late. And then like, I don't remember what it was, but Tyler and I got like in this like heated, like we had some tension the night before we went, like a fight almost, but not. And it was just so stressful. And we were to the point where like, I want to go to Hawaii, but like, I just freaking don't want to go. But yet, like we do. We were exhausted and it was so silly, whatever it was. But we had gotten like a little bit of like a tiff the night before we went to Hawaii. But I remember like when we got to the airport, it's like that moment you check in for your flight, you go through security, you find your gate. And then once you look at your gate, you're good to like go get a Starbucks, you know? And so like that's like the moment we got the Starbucks and then came back to our gate and sat down, it was like, vacation mode. Like we can do this. This is great. And we had the best time. So I relate with like the fight thing. So that's crazy. Okay. And then 2, she was describing her wedding cake when I say this. Okay. We were supposed to have a naked cut cake, which is like a cake, I think, without like the frosting on the outside. And then she got a fully frosted one. So like imagine you're showing up to your wedding day after all of that, right? You're like, okay, we got in a fight and then like we made up and then we're about to get married. And then it's like the other thing. It's like the cherry on top of like, oh my gosh, this is what I envisioned for my wedding cake. And it didn't arrive the way I dreamed of. And it's fully frosted. I would be kind of pissed, honestly. I would be like, but yet, like, I think it's good. Like, we'll tap into this again to like talk through these items, but it's good to like preface yourself and like before you get married, like weeks before. This is like my tip for this episode. Like, just sit down with your spouse and like, I would say like, as soon as you get that engagement ring, and if you're like already engaged or you're planning on and getting engaged, like sit down with your spouse, look at them in the eyes and say, you know what? I'm so excited to marry you. You are my person. And we are not going to let planning a ceremony and a celebration, let the stress of that get in between our union and get in between us. And I think if you can just like, yes, do your best to get all the details together, but like if it doesn't fall into place, like kind of make a pact with your person to be like, you know what? It's about us. It's not about the cake. It's not about the DJ. It's not about, you know, all the things, or like I shared the last episode, my husband ripping his pants, you know, having the perfect set of pants on your wedding day. It's about getting married and starting your lives together, right? Like that's the essence of it all. And that's why it's so beautiful and like the heartfelt love. Like you could get married, and I love these where you get married like on a mountain or elope on a mountain. Oh man, I loved our wedding. It was beautiful. But if I were to get married in 2023, 2024, I would elope 100%. Yep. On a mountain, just me, Tyler, an officiant. I guess in Colorado, you might not need one. So you could just be like you and your spouse, which, I'll fly out there if y'all want some pictures. I do travel for photos. But yeah, I would do Tyler and I on a mountain, beautiful gown, photographer, videographer, maybe. Call it good. See, I love that. That's what I would do today. But our wedding was like the best and we had the best time and it was so beautiful. I'm so grateful for all the energy that went into planning our wedding. But anyways, those would be my tips and tricks for that situation. Let me pull up my phone and see. Oh my gosh. Okay. And then she said, third, this is her third tip. So this is the same person. Like I'm reading all of these. These are like 3 things that went wrong for her wedding. She said they started to play the wrong song for the garter. So it's like another, like, this is like the straw that broke the camel's back, I guess, to be like, 1, we got in a fight. 2, I got a fully frosted cake and it was supposed to be naked, like that aesthetic that she was wanting. And then 3, like, this is not my song that I selected. Again, another DJ situation. I need some like good DJs in here, guys. Like, come on, don't skimp on your DJs. Like, invest in a good DJ that will speak with you, have a consultation with you, hear you out. Because it really does. Like, I've even told my couples this, having a good DJ literally like sets the mood. Okay. And then guess what? Like, playing the right music really does, because I'm a musician. So like, I love music and I totally like understand this. It really does set the ambiance and like the feel and the mood for other people, like on the dance floor or like for things to go smoothly. And they're the ones that are like audibly like bringing you into your timeline, literally for your ceremony, like giving cues for your songs. Like, guys, there's a lot that goes into a wedding day. And if you're wanting a traditional wedding day with the DJ and like the music playing and all of that, like, just don't skimp out on your DJ. Like, he's going to, what if he plays the wrong song when you're walking down the aisle or says your last name wrong? It happens. Like, things like that happen. But it's good to talk about these things so that way you can bring them up to your DJ. And like, if you have a complicated last name or first name, like, you need to make sure that you have a consult with them and pronounce your name for them correctly, you know, and like write it out phonetically for them on paper or an email or a text so that way they know how to say it, or send them like a voice recording so they can practice like how to say your last name. That way, like, it's right for you guys. And that way, when you watch your wedding videos back, it's like correct. I don't know if that's happened to anyone. So let me know if someone has ever said like your name or last name wrong, like on your wedding day during like a really important moment. So I get my name tossed around in all different variants and it's said incorrectly like all the time because my name is Adriana. People call me Adriana. Some people call me Adriana. It's Adriana. And I tell people, and it's okay, like I'm used to it, but it's okay to correct people sometimes. I always say my name is like Audrey Hepburn. Okay, so like Audrey, and then the second half would be Anna, like Anna from Frozen. So put it together. So Audrey, Anna. So Adriana. So say it together. Woohoo! Yay! So practice that. Like, tell your DJ that, okay? So, man, that just brought us back to like the DJ situation. I will tell you one thing that, like, for me on the wedding process, okay, that I thought was kind of funny, and we might talk about this together. I want Tyler to come on sometime and talk with me about our story, but okay, let me tell you about like the engagement process for Tyler and I. And one thing that I was like, yeah, like I thought this would go a little bit differently, but it was all so beautiful, like in the end. But like, we were talking about getting married. Like, a lot of times, probably like 99% of the time, like, you guys know that you want to get married. it's just like you're waiting for like that surprise to happen, like for him to actually like do it and pop the question. So I feel like 9 times out of 10, it's like you've had the conversation, like, yeah, let's get married. You kind of know sometimes like an idea of when, because you talk about it, like, yeah, when you're having like those late night chats, be like, yeah, like what if we had a fall wedding, or what if we had a winter wedding or spring wedding, and what year would it be in? Like you have those conversations when you're like dating someone that you're serious, really serious about. So we had those conversations for sure. And we kind of had like our time frame like in mind, but we were talking about rings and he would like ask me what my style was. And I was super adamant, like, I love rose gold. And what's so funny is Tyler, he has like an eye for like aesthetic, or like he likes to help give his opinion for like home decorating and stuff, which is great. Like we built our decor downstairs together. It's not something that I just did by myself, but he has like an aesthetic preference sometimes, or opinions about certain aesthetics. So he was like, well, yeah, but you have like very like rose gold skin. And I feel like the rose gold would blend into your hand or whatever. And I was like, dude, you ain't going to have to wear this thing. I'm going to be wearing it. I want rose gold. He was so cute. And then he was like very adamant. He was like, but I feel like silver or like white gold would look so good on you. And he was just like so complimentary of like what he thought would look good on me. But it was funny. So we went like ring shopping together, just to like take a peek at the mall. And I found like this beautiful dainty ring, and I was like in love with it instantly. And I was like, because I have like, I don't know, I have really big, not big, but skinny fingers, and they're really long. I have like man hands. They're actually the same length as Tyler, and he's like a size 12 shoe. Fun fact, just to give you an idea about like that, like I wear size 11 in women's shoes. So like I have really big feet, and they're like really skinny feet. And then like my hands are like really like skinny but long. So I was like, I want something like dainty on top. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it would make it feel feminine. And so I found like this one ring, and he was like, try it on, try it on, try it on. It was rose gold. It was like, and he was like, he saw it on and he was like, that's so pretty. I was like, see? And then I tried it on with like a white gold band, and it just really complimented. I don't know, it was like different, a little eclectic-y. And I was like, I like the mixture. So yeah, do you like find what works for you? But okay, it was all going perfect up until when I was standing with that man in the ring shop in the mall. He goes, all right, I'm buying it. I was like, wait, hold up. What? And he was like, yeah, I'm buying it. I was like, no. I'm not supposed to be here, sir. Like, you're supposed to surprise. Like, I had this idea in my mind. And he was like, well, he's such a practical minded person. He's like, well, I know I'm going to buy it. I don't want to come back here. Like, I want to buy it right now. And then I was like, no, I can't be here. And so I walked out of the store while he did the transaction, because I was like, I don't want to be in the store. But then we walked around the mall with a little bag with the ring in it. And then this is what was neat. He was like, now you know I have the ring, but you're going to have to wait for me to ask you to marry me. And I was like, oh, no. And he was like, yes. It was like, oh, it was like dangling candy, or like dangling a carrot in front of me. Like, I was like, are you serious? So then every single time we went on a date, I was like, is he going to ask me to marry him? Is he going to ask me to marry him? Is he going to ask me to marry him? Oh gosh. I was like, so yeah, I was like anxious. But if you're watching on YouTube, here's my ring. I'll kind of like lean in. Let's see if it'll focus. Well, that's kind of an epic fail. I can't do these things where it like will focus. Let me like lean in a little bit more. I guess you can kind of sort of see it. But it's so pretty and so dainty. And then I have the rose gold or white gold. I can't hold these things in front of the camera. I love my ring. I think it is completely beautiful, and I'll tell you guys the actual proposal story another episode. But I just wanted to share a few stories that you guys submitted and just talk about it. So I think the main takeaway from episode 2 is have the conversation, have realistic expectations, and keep your focus on the two of you while you're planning the wedding. So I think if you have that preface in your mind and your heart that we're getting married and that's all that matters, all of the life things that happen, like when they do or if they do, it's okay. And it's a story that you can tell your kids one day, or, be like, oh my gosh, let me tell you about this story. It's just it's a good conversation starter, even like share a fun fact about yourself. Me, I'm like, ooh, my husband ripped his pants on his wedding day on our wedding day, so whatever. I have another pop-up planned. I have the date picked out. You guys stay tuned. It's going to be amazing. So if you're wanting, I don't even want to give too many hints about it, but stay tuned. I think I'll release info on my Instagram. So keep your ears out for that if you're interested in another micro pop-up session. But yeah, it was so much fun talking with you guys today. Send me your stories. Comment on YouTube. DM me your stories on Instagram. I love it. I love hearing all of the stories. And if I missed your story, if you sent one to me, I'm really sorry. I'll go back and try to find it. But those were 3 that I found that I want to talk about today. But thanks so much for watching my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for streaming in on my podcast. And I will talk to y'all later. Toodles.
This is Raw Narrative. Raw Narrative. Stories in the Raw.